Duff Goldman may be the ace of cakes, but he's got a full house on his new show, Duff's Happy Fun Bake Time, as he teams up with a delightful puppet crew to take on some burning questions about cooking. Take a look.
What shaped pasta do you think would be best? We've got so many to choose from. The spiral fusilli, the stringy spaghetti, the curved ziti, the long, flat linguine,
the hollow penne, the flat and wide pappardelle,
the bow tie farfalle, or the conchiglie rigate, also known as the shell pasta.
Oh, the shell pasta is my favorite. The shell pasta is a sensible choice of noodle.
And Duff is with me now. Duff, good to see you. I see you're in your kitchen right at home.
I'm in my kitchen. I'm usually in my kitchen. My computer lives in my kitchen. It's kind of where all the bills get paid. It's where we hang out. It's sort of like
It's the hub. It's the hub. Listen, this show is so much fun. There's even fun in the title of the show. So tell me about the concept and how this whole idea came about.
I was in my kitchen, shocking. I was baking. And I was watching Sesame Street, and I was like watching the show, and I'm looking at what I'm doing. I was like, this would be a really good show. And I came up with this whole sort of storyline of how there's this magical bakery, and there's all these weird characters in there, and I get to sort of teach kids science and chemistry and physics and cooking, sort of all at the same time, and also problem solving, because I make a lot of mistakes, and whenever I do, we keep them in the show. So kids everybody messes up, even me.
I love that you keep the mistakes in. But so you're kind of like Bill Nye, the science guy, but for cooking.
Basically, yeah. That's what I was really going for, was Bill Nye meets Pee-wee's Playhouse meets, it's just I wanted it to meets Good Eats, but with Alton Brown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of wanted that, it's very campy. I love to have fun and make jokes, and I love absurdist Monty Python kind of humor. And so, it's a really fun, silly show. When I'm explaining how eggs work, we get a microscope and we look into the molecules of an egg. And when you go through the microscope, it's me in I have a yellow fairy outfit on. So I have a tutu and wings and all this stuff. And I'm the egg yolk, and I'm swimming around I'm gonna make the cake really, boys. And then there's another one where there's the protein. And then I'm in a white, they put me in a big muscle suit. And I was I'm so fluffy, I make the cake stay together. So it's it's hilarious.
Did you ever see Isabella Rossellini in that show, Green Planet, and she dresses up as a bug and she's coming out? That you just reminded me of that. You got to check that out too.
No, it sounds right up my alley.
That's what I'm saying. You got to watch that. But let's talk about the science of it. What are you experimenting with? What dishes are you touching on?
So we talk, we have an episode about pasta. And one of the things that we talk about in the pasta is the gluten in the flour and how it makes the pasta chewy. So I go into what gluten is and why it sort of works and why you want it for pasta, but not for, say, cakes, or cupcakes or stuff like that. And then we also go into why pasta is shaped the way that it's shaped. And this was something that I found out, and it's fascinating, but different noodles have their different shapes depending on what kind of sauce you're going to serve with it. And I was of course, that makes total sense, but I didn't know that was real. Yeah. And so a fusilli, right, is traps all that sauce, but long noodles something a little heavier and fattier. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love this. So this is not only for kids, this is for adults too, because adults love to hear this stuff. But, I think that some people don't realize, they don't put the connection together with science and baking or cooking. So how do you kind of balance the fun and the heart when you have to be some people are scared of baking because it's so specific and they feel that's no fun. It's so specific. How do you balance that?
Well, what I try to do is one thing is I try to share the magic, right? When I put cookies in the oven, I have made probably well over 1 million cookies in my life, right? I've made a lot of cookies. And every time to this day, I put cookies in the oven, I'm is it going to work? Is it going to rise? are they gonna pop up every single time? And like for me, that's magical. And one thing that I find really translates through these things
Yeah.
is enthusiasm.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Enthusiasm is the thing. And I love cooking and I think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Right? I think that there are, when you're mixing like eggs and oil and buttermilk together, I think it looks beautiful, and I love showing people that. When you're making ganache and you're whisking
Yes.
chocolate and cream together, and it comes and gets shiny, like
Yes.
I love sharing that with people and be like, "Watch this! It looks so good."
I
You know,
know.
and I think that right, it looks, you know,
Oh,
like,
and
like,
you
know
said
exactly
ganache
what I'm
because
talking about.
I do the same thing when I make ganache. I'm like, oh my God, it's so pretty. It's like,
Yeah,
yes.
it's so pretty because it looks bad, right? You put hot cream on chocolate and it sort of melts and everything
It's
looks
like
kind of bad. And then
lumpy
you
and
mix it, yeah, and it just like it just emerges out of the middle, and it just
like a
becomes this
butterfly.
glossy, beautiful chocolate butterfly. It's just amazing. Yeah, you
Yeah.
get it. You
I
get
get it. I get it. But listen, you also have some really fun, fabulous friends working with you. What was it with these puppets? What was it like working with the Jim Henson Company, kind of putting these pals together?
Man, well, first, it was crazy. I like drew like bad sketches of what I thought each one of these characters looked like, gave it to them. You know, several months later, they invite me to the Jim Henson Creature Shop, which is as cool as you think it is,
Oh my
and much
God.
cooler. It's amazing. And then there they all were. There was everybody. There was
Oh
all
my
these
God.
critters that I had in my brain, and
Did you
they
explode?
made them. I mean,
Your
I
head
was crying,
explode?
like literally crying. I couldn't. It was so emotional. I mean, first of all, this is a Jim Henson Creature Shop. I mean, I have
Yeah.
loved these characters my entire life, and the fact that, you know, these artists, these craftsmen put these ideas that I had into real felt and robotics and everything, just like it was incredibly overwhelming. And
Yeah.
then the most talented puppeteers in the world were working on this show.
Yeah.
And so I'm working with these guys, and they are hilarious. They're so good at what they do that they were able to take somebody like, I've never acted. I'm not an actor. I don't know how to learn a script. I've never worked with a puppet before. I mean, I was walking into this thing like, I got nothing. I have
Yeah.
no frame of reference. I don't know what to do. And these guys made it. They're so good. They
know.
almost made it easy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I co-hosted a show once with a couple of Muppets. I had like Gonzo and Pepe, the whatever. And same thing. I had never done anything with any puppets. It's you're really just talking to the puppet. I mean, like
Yeah,
it's a really cool experience, right? So
it really is.
and I feel like, you know, if you did this whole show with them, it has to be amazing, but there's also got to be challenges, right? Like, did you find there was challenges in that too?
It was yeah, because you have like, we have a really tight culinary team, right? So we got everything that we need, all the different swap outs. And then there's the whole puppeteering team. And the puppeteering team had to create puppet food. So I have to make stuff, and then they have a team that creates what I'm doing out of like foam and stuff that's not
Oh
going to get
my
the puppets
God.
dirty.
Yeah.
And then you have all the camera guys and the sound guys and all the guys that are filming. But it's so with the puppets, like I'm here and there's a puppet talking here, there's a puppet talking here, and so we're doing our thing. But down here, right
Yeah.
underneath, there are all these monitors because you have a puppeteer who's like laying on their side with like
Yeah.
one arm this way, their back of their foot is touching the back of their head, and they're taking a puppet and creating life and emotion and
Yeah.
humor. It is unbelievable watching these guys work.
Yeah.
It will
Yeah.
blow you away.
And
Man,
I
it's
know
cool.
it's like a talent that I don't comprehend. You know what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
skill set that is just amazing. But we got to talk about your fashion for a second. Where'd you get the fancy goggles?
Oh, so a long time ago, I was on a kids show with the Imagination Movers. And it
Oh, I
was,
remember that.
remember that? And so I
Yeah.
was like a guest. I came on and I was like I actually had lines for that one too, but I was like a baker and I forgot my secret ingredient in my muffins, and the guys were helping me figure it out. And I've stayed friends with them, ever since. Like, we've seen each other a bunch. I still talk to those guys. And Mover Scott, one of the guys, Scott, had these cool wobble goggles.
Yeah.
On that show, they were called wobble goggles, and I was like, man, those goggles are cool. And then, so when we came up with like the idea for this show, and like we were going through wardrobe, I was like, I need wobble goggles. So I was like, we came up with our own sort of like mine has like a prism in it, the other eye is like a bunch of gears and stuff. Like, it's really cool. But the idea was from my buddy Scott.
Oh, I love it. You're not only doing this, but you recently released your kids cookbook, which I talked to you about not too long ago. You're a regular judge on the baking championships, including the kids versions. But this is before you had kids. I feel like you've kind of made it your mission to teach kids how to cook and bake and kind of relate to them. Is it because you're just a kid yourself, or what is it, Duff?
I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a kid. Yeah. And like, you know what? I mean, I think like, it's due me to middle management in that there's a lot of stuff that I just don't take seriously. But I feel like, I don't know. I do feel like I'm about 11 years old. I still like, I don't know, like I'm excited about everything all the time. Like,
That's
I'm
an
not
awesome
kidding.
way to live.
Yeah, right. Like, it's fun.
Yeah.
Like we have like right now we have crazy bird feeders at our house. We live in the mountains, and like, I have like 11 bird feeders around because we love the birds so much. So there's constantly birds. I think I spend about $150 a month on bird seed. But we love it. It's really great. And
But we love it. But listen now, now you actually have a child. So how is Josephine?
Oh, she just melts your heart, man. She is so cute. I'm telling you, like having, I'm 46, having my first kid at 46 is a little strange, but like, I don't know, man. Like now that like I'm a dad, I feel like I just have purpose.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's just like I know what I'm here for. I am here to raise this baby right.
It almost
like
restarts the clock, doesn't it? It's like it's a new frame of reference for your life.
100%. I mean, I think about everything differently. Every single thing is through the lens of my daughter and how this is going to affect her. It's just magical. I mean, it's brought me and my wife. I mean, I don't know how. Like my wife and I are like stupidly crazy about each other, but like
awesome.
Somehow like this has brought us like even closer. And like both of us, like she's 3 months old now, and both of us like we still are just looking at her. We're like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Like every morning I wake up
and they let us take her home.
Yeah, like this is great. I wake up and I look over, and usually like she'll feed like at 4 a.m, and my wife's like, I'm not putting her back in the crib, and they both just fall asleep. And like I'll wake up and she's just sleeping on her, and I'm just like, I can't handle this. It hurts. It's so wonderful. You know what I mean? Like
I do know what you mean. I did it 3 times. I did it 3 times. But in addition to being a new dad and all you got going on, you're a business owner. You still have Charm City Cakes. How's it going?
It's going okay. It with COVID, not many people were having parties that they needed cakes for. So we were very not busy. But I got to tell you, it's actually, I didn't want to, I was really worried about my staff. That was my biggest concern was, I got a lot of people that work for me, and I just, I didn't want them just adrift and trying to, so I was like, look, everybody's getting their paycheck. Nothing's going to happen. I'm going to keep paying you guys. Let's all figure out how we're going to get through this together. And so we did. And what we ended up doing was creating nationwide shipping on our cakes, and a whole digital platform where we're doing classes. And we've been like, it was really good because we're like, all right, I can't pay you guys forever, but nobody's going anywhere. Let's think about this. Everybody think about what would you like to do? And so a group of my employees were like, we're going to do these classes. And they figured out YouTube, they figured out the platform, they understand how to get material to everybody, and they created a whole nother system. And now we have a whole separate business.
That's awesome.
It's so it's kind of like when you get lemons, fortunately God bless, like we are in a position that we could, okay, we can take a breath and let's pivot and figure out how to get through this. But we did, and
Yeah.
I think that that's the thing about the restaurant industry, and it is that cooks are very, very resilient, right? There's a lot of bad stuff happening in the restaurant industry right now, but I am confident that everybody that I know is going to land on their feet because it's just what we do.
Yeah, because cooks and chefs just make it work. They make it work.
Yeah.
And I think if this past year has taught so many people, so many restaurant owners, and so many other businesses how they can succeed and make money doing other things. It's taught people to think outside the box
Yeah.
and create new avenues of business, even when we get back up and running again, which I think is like
Mhm.
just a little bit of a positive that's come out of it.
Yeah, I think that there is so much horrible stuff that has happened over the last year and
Yeah.
change. Horrible stuff. Things are crazy. I think a lot of people right now are going to be sort of emerging from these cocoons and are going to be emerging into something new and something wonderful. I think a lot of people, a lot of us, I know I have, everybody's been doing a lot of reflection,
Yeah.
and really like kind of like, okay, what's important and what's not. The world has forced me to sit my place and
Mhm.
not do much. And you're I think like a lot of people, I was amazed at what I can do without,
Yeah, me
you
too.
know. And
Me too.
I think a lot of people are sort of really evaluating right now, especially right now, because like the world is sort of opening back up, and it's like, do I want to go back to the
I
way it
know.
was?
Yeah.
And maybe I don't have to, and
No,
I think that's really great.
me too. I think we're all going to emerge as chocolate ganache butterflies and fly away delicious. Uh, well, Duff's Happy Fun Bake Time is streaming now on Discovery Plus. Watch it with your kids, watch it without your kids. Just have fun. Duff, it's always good catching up with you. Be
Yeah,
well,
me
and I hope
too.
to see you soon.